Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Para Sarave Na Kutaschana Bhibyati Svarga Pavarga Narakeshu Api Tulyartha Darshina Narayana Parasarve Nakutaschana Bhibyati Svarga Pavarga Narakeshu Pavarga Nara Api Tulyartha Darshina Narayana Parasarve Nakutaschana Bhibyati Svarga Pavarga Narakeshu Api Tulyartha Darshina. Narayana Para, pure devotees who are interested only in the service of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarve, all, na, not, kutaschana, anywhere, bhibyati, are afraid, svarga, in the higher planetary systems, apavarga, in liberation, narakeshu, and in hell. Api, even. Tulya, equal. Artha, value. Dadarshina, who see. Translation. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Purport. Parvati might naturally have inquired how devotees become so exalted. Therefore, this verse explains that they are Narayana Para, simply dependent on Narayana. They do not mind reverses in life because in the service of Narayana, they have learned to tolerate whatever hardships there may be. They do not care whether they are in heaven or in hell. They simply engage in the service of the Lord. This is their excellence. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam. They are liberally engaged in the service of the Lord, and therefore they are excellent. By using the word Britya Brityanam, Lord Shiva pointed out that although Chitraketu provided one example of tolerance and excellence, all the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord are, as eternal servants, are glorious. They have no eagerness to be happy by being placed in the heavenly planets, becoming liberated, or by becoming one with Brahman, the supreme effulgence. These benefits do not appeal to their mind. They are simply interested in giving direct service to the Lord. So because Shiva and Parvati were impressed by Chitraketu's behavior, because definitely getting cursed by Maya Devi yourself, you would not consider that an ideal, material situation. But he wasn't disturbed. So then Lord Shiva is explaining this is because he's so absorbed in the service to the Lord. See, because we're very used to the idea that we're going to enjoy ourselves. And this enjoyment that we're going to gain is going to come from enjoying Krishna's energy. So the enjoyment of the energy itself, you can say, the energy itself is the secondary attribute which manifests the primary, which is Krishna's pleasure. Right? That's the real thing we're looking for, is Krishna's pleasure. But due to this principle of justification, then if there's any aspect to do with the secondary, we enlarge that, or take it out of perspective, out of its position, and we make that the most important aspect. Because our intent is to enjoy, to control, to enjoy. Because how do you control peace, or happiness, or greatness, or, you understand? The actual quality, the primary quality, how can you control that? It's uncontrollable, because that's Krishna. But forms that manifest peace or happiness, that I can control. And if I can control it, I can enjoy it, right? Because if you can't get it in your hand, how do you enjoy it? Really hard to enjoy a sandesh if it's not in your hand, right? Unless it's chaturmas, you're eating off the floor, okay. But then one might question, why would you be eating sandesh during chaturmas? But whatever, right? So then the point comes is that it's the secondary where all the focus is. And so Krishna consciousness learning is that we have to go back to the primary. But because of being in the material world, we have two choices, karma or jnana, right? I'm the controller, jnana. I'm the enjoyer, karma. So we only think in these two ways. We don't think in a third way. People will think, oh, we're unique, we're different. No, all it is your particular uniqueness is in karma or jnana. That's all. It's not that there's something else. We have to get over this thing that there's something special here. Everything boils down to karma and jnana in the material world. That's all there is. If there's any kind of materialistic thing, it's going to be karma and jnana. So therefore, in karma, if I can control it and enjoy it, I'm going to work. If I'm not going to control and enjoy it, I'm not going to work. That's jnana. Right? Jnana, oh, I'm not supposed to enjoy this, so I'm not going to work for it. I'm not going to get involved. So this is the real problem, excuse me, to understanding how Krishna consciousness works. Because Krishna consciousness is very simple and straightforward. It's just whatever situation you are in, engage it in Krishna's service. It's that simple. Difficulty is we've cultivated whatever situation I'm in to look for sense gratification, look for a way to control. So I look at the situation, is this something I want to enjoy? If not, I don't get involved. Right? So we think, wow, the person's so cool, so, detached. No, it's just they don't find any sense gratification. Right? So all those people walking down the street looking cool, looking this, that, looking like they don't care, it's because whatever's around isn't their interest. But put them in an environment that they do care, you'll see it's just the same as everybody else. So nothing changes. Right? So therefore what happens is that when we're looking at the secondary aspects, we're going to justify either I get involved or I don't get involved. Right? I don't have anything here. I'm renounced. I don't get involved. Right? Or we're involved with these things, so it's all right for us to be involved with these things. But it's always it's okay if I enjoy family life, or the others are oh, this is all nonsense. This is all Maya. This is all disgusting. Why you're involved in this? These are the two, right? Standard conversation. But if you'll notice one outstanding feature of these two conversations, where's Krishna? It's not about Krishna. Oh, this is my house, my family, my money. I'm being practical. Like how to, we can do this. We're householders. We have a, license to enjoy. Right? Does that make sense? Some variety of mundane 007, right? License to enjoy, right? So the whole thing. But where's Krishna? Or the other? Oh, we're brahmacharis. Yeah, we don't get all this nonsense. Yeah, these disgusting. But where's Krishna? That's the problem. So it's always about the secondary. It's never about Krishna, really. I mean, occasionally, of course. That's why we're here. But if it was about Krishna, we wouldn't be here, we'd be there. Right? But we're here as long as it's about here. And we're there when it's about there. Right? So that's the ideas here is that's what's special, is that the devotee, Narayana Para, he, no matter what situation, he's just looking at it, how can I serve Krishna? Right? So the rules are there, but the rules aren't how I can get out of being involved or how I can be involved. The rules are how to please Krishna. Because the rules, actually, the Vedic rules are actually to please Krishna. We tend to look at them if they please us or not. They please us, yes, these are good. They don't please us, oh, this is archaic, this is old, it's Kali Yuga, we have to make adjustments, all this. But it's all about ourselves. Rules are for Krishna. Right? Just like you have a game, there's rules. Now, if you're winning, the rules are great. But if you're losing, there's a problem with the rules. You understand? So that's how you can tell. Where do you fit in the game? If you're opposed to the rules, you're losing. Straight up front. And if you're winning, then you say, yeah, this is great. But the point is what about Krishna? The rules, the game is to please Krishna. The Vedic rules, that's why it's called pastime. Krishna's having fun. We're the one that takes the game seriously. Right? I've always noticed that over the years. You get a bunch of kids playing a game. Right? They get out a ball, they're kicking it around and this, and they're all laughing and that. And then somebody from one side kicks it and it goes, way out, goes out in the bushes. So what happens? everybody laughs. It's fun, right? You know, and then they go running looking for the ball because they're just having fun, right? You have some little rules, you know, you kick the ball instead of eat it or something. So, you know, it makes for some fun. But now, when they get older, someone kicks it into the bushes, everybody's freaked out, and you got to go get it, and they don't want him on his team anymore, and this, because the game is important. There's no fun anymore. You ever notice that older people, they're all so sober and that? That's not because they're so cool. That's because they're so grumpy. That's all. That's the real. They're just downright grumpy, right? But they just, you know, don't want to look grumpy, so they just look cool. Like that. Isn't it? So, yeah. So, that's the idea, is that the secondary, this is where the confusion comes in. Because when Krishna starts talking about the Buddhi Yoga, like the Arjuna, that's his first confusion. Okay, this is all materialistic and all that means all this, you should be doing spiritual stuff. All right? Arjuna immediately, right, great, I throw all this out, I'll go to the forest, I'll just be out there. And the Krishna, you know, and the Krishna says, no, you'll do your duties as Kshatriya. Then he's confused, but you just told me, you know, to give up all this material, now you're telling me to fight. You understand? This is where the confusion is. Because he either fights for himself or he doesn't fight for himself. The Krishna is saying, no, you fight or don't fight for me, for Krishna. That's the specialness. That's the Krishna consciousness. So we have to be very, very careful, is that the tendency is because we have spent time immemorial being absorbed in these secondary aspects without Krishna. So now when we introduce Krishna consciousness, we just think it's a new form of secondary attributes. Right? Devotional service is all, you know, the particular trappings that we accept or reject. And that's what that identifies us. No, but we're servant of Krishna. That's what identifies. And as we remember, since we're saying, oh, it doesn't matter about the secondary, so then the natural thing, oh, I can do whatever I want, we somehow or another sneakily bring it back to ourselves. But it's no, the rules are about Krishna. So therefore, so we don't care, and the secondary is not the important, we follow the secondary for the primary of pleasing Krishna. We have to remember, because there must be some form to serve Krishna with. So Krishna defines the form. He makes it clear what he wants. That's you know, okay, you know, what does the kid like? Oh, they like strawberry. Okay, so then for the birthday, we want to get them strawberry, but that's so much restriction, and I don't really like strawberry, and, you know, and isn't that just so much just for little kids? And, you know, I mean, every birthday there's strawberry and that, and so why can't we do something else? Now, who's that about? Right? All you have to do is replace the strawberry and the kid with Krishna and the Vedic rules. And just see that we're not having that same conversation. Right? So that's the whole point. Is that we have to learn that it's about Krishna, and that's what's nice. Because if it's about someone else, it's always easier to work. Right? For yourself, it's hard to work. You're doing for someone else. Right? It's rare you can find a person that cooks nicely for themselves. Right? Cooking for others, you can do really good. Cook for yourself, now that's a trip. You know? If you don't kill yourself because you expertly both burn it and it's uncooked. Now that's, you know, that's takes skill. Right? But it's pretty standard when you're cooking for yourself. Right? You know, so therefore, the whole idea is that, no, it's about Krishna. So the secondary aspects are about Krishna. He defines them, and we just do them to please him. But it's not about this, it's about pleasing Krishna. That's pure devotional service. So we have to learn to stop rationalizing that I can do this or I shouldn't be doing this. Right? Or I'm doing this so the whole world should do this. No, it's about Krishna. This is his recommendation. And if the situation is stuff that this works, that's what you do. And if it doesn't, you don't. That's the whole thing. So that's what then we see here, is that this second Prabhupada is pointing out is the devotee is not worried about the secondary. He's worried about the primary, pleasing Krishna. So if he's in a nice situation, he serves Krishna. He's not in a nice situation, he serves Krishna. But it's not about trying to create the nice situation. It's about serving Krishna. Krishna will take care of the situation. Right? He'll take care. Like that. He'll make it nice or not nice, whatever it is. We may say, oh, why is it not nice? Like for the Pandavas, why is it not nice for them? They're devotees of Krishna. Why did all this happen? If the kingdom went perfectly his whole life, how many verses would there be in the scripture about it? Right? We hear about so many kings that they follow everything nice and it just goes perfectly well. Yeah, so there was this king, and he had this, and he expanded like this, and he had 5 sons, and then to each of these sons, then this one got this and that, and then they had, this one had this many sons, that one had that. That's called 9th canto. Right? It's just everybody there is a perfect king, nice devotee, and everything's going perfectly for them. And there's one verse, and we probably will never remember their name. Right? So now, 5,000 years later, we're still talking about Yudhishthira. Because he's emperor of the world, he has that devotional mentality. He loses everything, he's in the forest, same mentality. That's Narayanapara. And they're there in the city, Krishna comes and visits them. They go out to the forest, Krishna comes and visits them. Right? Whatever the situation, Krishna comes to see them. Because they're always absorbed in Krishna. So that's the idea. So this is what Lord, because otherwise they're amazed at how he's taking this so nicely, that he's just been cursed to turn into a demon, right? Generally pious people don't like to be cursed and turned into demons, right? But he's taking it well. So that's his glory, right? And so then Shiva's then discussing, how is it he's glorious? It's because he's a devotee. That's the specialness. Any questions on this? Comments? No? Yes.
You said that the rules are for Krishna.
Yes.
The other day I was listening to the story when Krishna Maharaj asked Srila Prabhupada what does Srila Sannyasi do when he thinks of a woman or something. And then he jumps into the Ganga. So then, how we should take these rules? Should we we understand that in Kali Yuga it's difficult to follow.
No. But the point is this whole thing we overrate Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, modern society, we overrate it like it's something really, really special. Kali Yuga just means that age when nobody's really interested in Krishna consciousness. It's not that the modes of nature function different, right? Gravity, water, earth, air, fire, the mind, the intelligence, they all function exactly the same. As far as science goes, there's no difference between Kali Yuga and any other yuga. The difference in the yugas is the consciousness. So when we say, oh, it's Kali Yuga, you can't do this, then just say, okay, you're speaking for yourself. Just say, it's Kali Yuga, I can't do this. Don't say that nobody can do this. Right? The point is that's why Lord Chaitanya, the incarnation, comes to show how in that age you do this. So Lord Chaitanya is showing how you perform the Sankirtan mission in Kali Yuga. Right? You can say, oh, but it's not as bad as it was then. No, what do you mean? But it's not as bad. Did you have, were you living on occupied soil? Right? I mean, some devotees have been in those situations. It's not nice. Right? So that's the way it was. Right? And you're dealing with people that are really smart, so you can't just come up to them and say, Krishna's nice and take some halava and haribol. They get right down into arguing over syllables. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that, they didn't have air conditioning. It was hot. It was hot. It was cold. It was cold. You know what I'm saying? So this whole idea to just finesse it that, oh yeah, I can't do it because it's Kali Yuga, that's just cheap. That's again rationalizing. Why can't I do secondary aspects? Because for me, the secondary aspects are important, and the ones that I don't like, I'll just finesse. And the ones that I do like, then if nobody else is doing that, then it's a problem. They're not devotees, they're not this, that. Does that make sense? So the first thing to do is, if you want to get somewhere, is don't open your thought process with, it's Kali Yuga, I can't, or nobody can. No, the point is what are you going to do now to serve Krishna? Right? Because in Kali Yuga, the rules are simpler. For us who come from backgrounds where any rule is a problem, then, even playing like Bull Rush is a problem, right? Like that, like over the top, I think there's only one rule, get the other guy and push his face into the mud. That's it. If you do that, you win. I don't think is there another rule? No, yeah. It's one of the simplest games I've ever seen. It's like, I think it's probably one of the oldest. I think it was created by Neanderthal, but something like that. It's hasn't developed since, like that. So. Yeah, they didn't need to create a board, like the International Board of Bull Rushing and stuff like that. Is that? So one has to not start from there. Otherwise, then everything else that you think will be faulty. You have to think, how in this situation do I use it for Krishna? All that Krishna is defining is how you look at it. That doesn't change the situation, just like the example given of the Upanishadic example given of the young, beautiful, attractive girl. The girl's the same. So the young boy looks and says, oh, very attractive, very desirable. The sage, he looks and sees, mucus, bile, and air, right? And then the dog looks and goes, nice to eat. You understand? So what is the perspective that matters here? Consciousness, yeah. So what's our perspective based on the consciousness? So as we become Krishna conscious, so that's why all these practices are there, so that in other words, if you're Krishna conscious, you'll function in a particular way. And because we don't know what Krishna consciousness is, and we're only used to secondary aspects that are based on how I want to act, we're given the secondary aspects so that we don't do something that we shouldn't do if we were Krishna conscious. That's what the rules do. Right? Like the little kid is walking. Don't walk so near the edge. Right? Why? Because they'll fall off, because they're not aware. So you put them on the other side. But as they mature, they can walk anywhere on the path and won't fall off. Right? But the point is because they understand the principal rule. Walk on the sidewalk, don't fall off into the street. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So like that, then if you start from there, then you can get somewhere. But if we're always like saying, no, but I can do this or I can't, but how does it please Krishna? You have to take it that far. Right? Because otherwise just saying, oh, it's for Krishna, nice, but how? How is it for Krishna? Does that make sense? We have to be able to take it down that far. And the farther away it is to get the connection, the more steps we have to go through to get the connection, then the more we have to be careful that it's connected. Right? Chanting Hare Krishna, that's direct. Now, we're chanting, but we're not thinking of Krishna or not absorbed in the name, but still we're associating with the name, so we're getting benefit. But if you're dealing with something that's not direct, you don't connect it, it's not connected. It is connected because it is Krishna running it, but you don't get any benefit if you don't connect it. So we have to make that endeavor. Then that's being Krishna conscious in all aspects of our life. That works very well. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Wow, that's impressive. That one says 5 to 9, and this one says, 22 to 9. So depending upon how hungry somebody is, and they move the thing. You know. That one's the correct one. Oh, okay. I was thinking, wow, we're over time. And oh, no. Yes. That funny little mic thing.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, you said in any situation we should use for Krishna service.
Yes.
But sometimes we got confused. How we use this situation for Krishna's service, or in this situation, what should I do that is please Krishna? Should I pray to the deity, pray to Krishna, please show me what should I do? Can please you
Yeah, you could do like that. See, the thing is you're looking at the situation if there's some service for Krishna. If not, you keep walking. If it's a situation that you're supposed to do service in, then you figure that out. You can't figure it out, you pray to Krishna. But it's not like you can't walk down the street because every step you're trying to analyze, how can I serve this for Krishna? How can I? No, you don't do that. You go nuts. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you have duties, right? That's, again, part of the rules of the game, is that there's so many rules, but certain rules apply to certain individuals. That way, then it all works, right? Because if you have a game and everybody's batting, you know, it'll be really tough. No one's throwing the ball, no one's fielding the ball. You know, it'll be really hard, right? Or if everyone's just throwing the ball, that'll be a problem, especially if there's only one ball, right? You know, so like that, then you have to see is that there's rules so that the whole thing works nicely. So then which, within the rules that apply to you, in situations that where those rules apply, that's where then you apply them. If they don't apply in that rule, then, you know what I'm saying? Just like, let's say you're taking a bath, so at the end of the bath, then the final part of the bath is remembering Krishna. That's called mantra snanam, right? So now, if you're standing in the middle of the street, walking across the street, you don't stop for mantra snanam, right? It's not the situation favorable for that. Does that make sense? You know, the situation, what services can be done, and do they fit into your duties? If they do, you do them. And if they don't, you don't. Is that okay? Okay. Yes.
How can we please Krishna? How can we know
How can we know if we're pleasing Krishna? Basically is that one is that we're doing what is recommended, right? So if we're doing what's recommended, that's the start, right? And then we see other devotees appreciate, and we ourselves are satisfied. So that's how you tell if you're situated nicely, right? Scripture gives what does. The great authorities have given recommendation. That's called tradition. Then we have our acharyas and leading devotees. They give them direction, and then we apply all that in our life. And then we see the response to that. You know, are we satisfied? Are others satisfied? If all that works, then you know it's good. Is that okay? Something else? Yes.
Here in India, there's hundreds of brahmacharis throughout the ISKCON temples. People
Right.
saffron and renounce. And in America, we have, like, Jamastami, all the North American temples had about 100,000 Indian people came. So we have like tens of thousands of Indian, most of the devotees in America are Indian. You know, outside of the retirement community in Alachua, there's maybe 60 full-time American devotees that have been made over the 50 years and 100,000 Indians. But out of all those Indians, there's not a single one who's striving to be a renunciate, to put on saffron, they're all making money, so that's what they all can make money, so that's what they all want to do. So we wonder is it just because they can't make any money here in India that they become brahmacharis?
No, it's because they can make money here. They go there, they can make more money. That's one thing that the Westerners should understand about Indians. Indians can make money anywhere. Because it's like this. If you take those 100,000 who are connected to the temple, how much money do they have? Now you take 100,000 of whiteys, and then how much money do they have? So they know how to make money. It's just that they see opportunities to make there. So they take it.
Well, the question is that...
You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful, about the...
Well, basically I was just wondering, is it really some real happiness in renunciation, in the renouncer life, or brahmachari, sannyas, vanaprastha, or is it just kind of a lonely hearts club of
the brahmacharis?
Nothing else worked out?
Oh, okay. Huh. Nothing else worked out, so you're a brahmachari. If nothing else works out, you won't be a brahmachari. Brahmacharis are the ones who it works out. Like that. The ones who don't work out, those are called bachelors. And that you have a lot in the Western community. That you have many like that. You also have in the Indian community, but generally they end up getting married after they set themselves up. So the point is the brahmacharya, that's the best position to get trained in. Right? Even you want to be a grihasta by being a brahmachari, then the training on learning how to function on your own. Right? Because the point is if the man's supposed to take care of the woman, how do you take care if you're dependent on the woman? You can take care if you're independent. Right? And then that independence is then how you say, not exactly you could say given up, but is you willingly or voluntarily restrict your independence to interact with another person, to have a teamwork with another person. Right? Because independence you can be, but if a relationship means it's defined by the interaction with the other parties. Right? But it's just like the Goswamis. It's like you see Rupa and Sanatan. Their renunciation is glorious because they had something. You have nothing and you renounce nothing. How glorious is that? You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole point, is that the brahmachari means he could do other than, but he's not. Or the householder, he could be doing all kinds of things, but he's not. So this ability to restrict and control based on a relationship with another person and that value, that's the important part. That's the thing to learn in brahmacharya. Not how to be mean, nasty, and have a very funky van that you travel around in. That's not actually the purpose of brahmachari life. Right? So, because you're trying to get to the point is you're willing to give up everything to please Krishna. That's the point. But in the beginning, we may see the renunciation or the attachment part because we're used to karma and jnana, like we said. But with time, then we see it's about Krishna. It's about the principle of relationship. And the ultimate principle of relationship is Krishna. So then that works very, very nicely. So that's what brahmacharya is for. Learn to be simple, learn to be clean, learn to have a service attitude, learn to function according to Shastra, learn to function according to your position. These are all the main points that brahmacharya is supposed to train. Like that. That's not and sense control. These are what is given to learn as a brahmachari. You learn that will make all the other ashrams and varnas work. You don't have that, you can't make anything work, really. Right? Does that make sense? As a brahmachari, if you're supposed to be simple, that means you have very minimal stuff. Minimal stuff means you can keep it very orderly and tidy. Right? Brahmacharis are always traveling, this, that. You don't have ideal situations. You have simple and you're always tidy. That means you always know where your stuff is. So even at night, you can find it without having to turn on the light, wake up all the other brahmacharis, get out all your plastic bags, rustle them around, make everybody annoyed. like that. You don't have to do that. You just know that this is here. So that's the advantage. So then you also know, as a grihasta, where everything is. You don't have more than what you know where it is. Right? Like that. So that's the whole, you expand more, but still, you know your car's in the garage, right? You know where things are. You know what your duties are. As a brahmachari, you dress in a particular way for the situation. So then as a grihasta, you can do the same thing. Right? Like that. You have a sense of duty, so therefore you're doing something simple, you're working under authority, and as a grihasta, you're still working under authority. Just what I'm saying? It just shifts that what the detail is, who's the authority. Right? You're working to please others. The grihasta, you're working to please others. Like that. The senses are controlled, and so they're just focused on Krishna. As a grihasta, the same thing. So it works very well. So that's the whole point of brahmacharya. Now it's just a matter of what kind of preaching, because you're mentioning about 100,000 Indians came, great, but the temple, how do they see these Indians? Do they see them as a donation base, or do they see them as somebody to preach to? Because otherwise, personally, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing it talking about, oh, it's just the Indians, we're the white people. It's kind of like that. It means if you got a pointy hat with little eyes, holes in it, okay, talk like that all you want, I understand. But otherwise, the point is it's a matter of you preach to them about devotional service, then you get that. Like I've seen in India, of those who, collect money. I've seen there's a variety of how they do it. Now there's those that just go out and talk about the benefits. It's just about karma, and they get the money. They make they collect a lot of money, but the guy just thinks that he's the big donor and the special guy. And I've seen others who go to him and preach this about Krishna consciousness. So you're a grihasta, you make money, so you can give money for Krishna. But it's about devotional service. And then when those persons come to the temple, they're interested in devotional service. They come or render service. They're not the big guy, the big donor walking around. And the fun part is the ones that do that actually collect the most. But they're very rare. Very rare. On this side, we had one in the past like that. Just like that. He would make like 20 life members a month at minimum. And all of them were like devotees. And he would drop in on them, see how they're chanting, like this. They'd discuss philosophy, like that. He wouldn't just drop in when it's time to collect money. Like that. So if in the West you're doing that also, preaching, then you'll start to see the young people as they come up will go. Once they hit, but you have to catch them younger. Because once they get into their mid-late 20s, they're already prepared, they're already situated, they're preparing for grihasta life anyway. You'd have to catch them earlier. Then they could spend some time as brahmacharis. Right? Does that make sense? Like Chopati, they got tons of brahmacharis, and they're Indians. Right? Because they preach like that, and that's a community. It's not like here where we're just preaching out and catching one here and there, and then we have brahmacharis. They're pulling from a community of grihastas, and they're getting brahmacharis, because everybody understands the benefit. Then, it's also important thing is if you want to have a community of brahmacharis that's stable, is that they have to understand is that you take up the vow of brahmacharya for a specific amount of time. There's no limit on what the time can be, but it's not that it has to be eternal, otherwise you're not a brahmachari. That's the approach that we've used in the West. That's made it very difficult, because someone becomes a brahmachari and then they can't maintain it because they got to do it forever. So then they are kind of weak all the way along. But the Vedic thing is no, this much time you're going to be a brahmachari, then after that you want to get married, you do. And so just focus on being a good brahmachari for that amount of time. You get trained. Because it's easier if I think, it's just like if I wake up in the morning and say it's a fast day, how long are we fasting till? No, we're just fasting. It would be very difficult. But if we know, okay, it's a fast till noon, then I focus. Until noontime, I'm very strict. Or, it's Janmashtami, it's till midnight, or it's, like this. So that's the whole thing, is that you try this for this amount of, for some time. And then we'll reassess. And then at any point, it can be reassessed. But the point is while you're doing it, Be focused. And if you do that, then you'll find you'll have a much stronger brahmacharya ashram. Like that. Because if you know that, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 years and really get into it, and then after that I'm going to, set up my household and do things like that, people will do it. But if they think, no, you have to be a brahmachari, don't worry about it, it's all Maya, then they won't necessarily. Rare ones will, but in general they won't. Does that make sense? So the approach to brahmacharis, the approach to the preaching, that's there. Because the point is anywhere you can get. It's like you were saying, America used to have so much, there's hardly any brahmacharis. But before, there were so many brahmacharis. Right? And so then the point is any culture, any situations, you can create all 4 of the varnas and ashrams. It's just a matter of if that's preached, if people are educated in that way. Because otherwise, if they're not educated in that way, then they won't go that way. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So it can be done. It's just a matter of preaching. So those ones that are older, they're already married, you can't expect them to be brahmacharis in the temple. That's already there. But their children, the next generations, especially the ones that you see are born there, or they came there young and grew up there, then they'll be much easier to identify and deal in that way. But the point is the community has to appreciate brahmacharis and the value of brahmacharis. If the community thinks that brahmachari is not important and it's just they're not being honest and like this and that, then why would you get brahmacharis? Does that make sense? Like that, yeah. Yeah, how do you? Yes.
In Melbourne Temple, we must have over 20,000 Indians.
Right.
And because we're teaching them how to become Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, and even Bhaktisiddhanta now,
right.
And these devotees are going out and preaching to the Western people. And,
yes.
And it's a very healthy and a wonderful environment.
Right, right. Yeah, no, the whole point is if you preach, anyone will respond because everybody's human. So the human can respond. Right? But if we deal with them otherwise, then it won't work. Because the point is that it doesn't matter where it was. It's just like, let's say in the earlier days, then the major preaching was going on in America. So mostly Americans were going out and establishing yatras all over the world. And so they were going to cultures that they were not from and being successful. So it can work anyway. So you can preach to the Indians and they can go out and make anybody anywhere. Or, so it doesn't matter where they're from. Europeans go anywhere. It doesn't matter where they're from. If they have that determination in pure devotional service, it will work. Like that. But it has to be that's what's preached. That's what's lived. And then people will follow. Does that make sense? So examples are there. You can go individual temples, you find amazing things. Like we were saying, we can't do all this, Vedic stuff in the West. I just saw a picture the other day. It was the Karmis had put it up, where you have this huge, there's like, I don't know, tens of thousands of people. And then at some point, everyone's throwing color into the air. Thousands and thousands. And you look at it, and there's, some Indian kind of temple. I mean, building and stuff like that. Yeah, Utah. And you know where Utah is? You know what's out in Utah? That's Mormons. Those are tough nuts. 50,000 people. They're the fastest growing religion in the world. And the amazing thing is, all the young people go out and they wear suits. They don't go out looking like, grungy guys. They go out with suits. They're respected and they're the fastest growing in the world. And they're coming and throwing dye there. They're coming for our holy festival. Because if you look at it, because it's India, because then everything else around that's all, these funky buildings. But no, it's just fields. So that's the thing, is it's you can apply it anywhere if it's given properly. We don't get it properly. In other words, if we're failing preaching anywhere in the world, it's because we're failing. Because there's someone in the same situation that's doing great. That's the thing. So that's why Krishna says it's about the individual. The individual, if they take seriously, they'll affect. They don't, they won't. That's why Prabhupada's point was not about centralizing. You have to be very careful. There's common points, common standards. But the point is it's an individual that's going to make it happen. So the aspect of centralization is about centralizing association, that you're always associating, the value of association. Then somebody is inspired, others will take that and gets inspired. And that will then expand it very nicely. So that's the whole point, is that if you bring that out, that makes it happen. There's good association, things spread. There's not, it won't. Does that make sense? It means it's like if we're not going to accept Krishna's rules, we're not going to accept anybody else's rules like that, so. Does that make sense? Yeah? Anything else? Yeah? Okay, so we'll end here. Going by which of the clocks, but Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki, Jainatai Gaura Premanandi.